Hi everyone, Casperation here. Thank you for tuning into my channel, Casperation Vibration. All about energy, laws of the universe, how to improve yourself to become your best version. And basically, in order to do that, you need to purge everything that you basically don't want in your life that you consider is not exactly an attribute of your best version, your best person, and good characteristics. Going off from yesterday, it was about procrastination. Something that a lot of us have trouble with, especially with technology nowadays. And I realized something, is that it was hard for me to forgive myself for doing this. And I wrote this down in my meditation. Why is it that the hardest person to forgive is your own self? You have regret or resentment for things you did or should have done. I believe it's harder to forgive yourself because you know that you had control, and yet you made the conscious decision to do so. It was your own choice to do it. Or sometimes you felt like you were up against a wall and had no other choice. So even if you knew it was wrong, you still had to do it. That's why it's the hardest. Hence, in hindsight, you beat yourself up about it. So the question is, and the question I asked myself basically was, how do you forgive someone who you knew at the time and at the moment that it was wrong? Because sometimes for other people, we could have the benefit of the doubt. You know, when you forgive another person, sometimes you think in your mind that maybe they didn't know it was wrong. For you, it was wrong from your perspective, but for theirs, it could have been totally different. Choices and different and possibilities. It's infinite here in the universe. You could have the benefit of the doubt, thinking maybe that they didn't know that they were doing something wrong. It wasn't conscious. Unknowingly they did it. So it's easier to forgive them. But since you know yourself and you know your own thoughts and you know your own intentions, you know why you did it. That's why it makes it the hardest to forgive yourself. We've all been there. I've been going through this. When you dive deeper and knowing that it's not about victim mentality, you know, it's all about yourself. When you stop blaming other people and realize that you have to look within and dig out all those attributes that no longer serve you purpose, it's really hard to begin with. As Shar told me, spiritual woman that I met in Hawaii, when I was going through a lot of stuff and really unearthing all those bad events that happened in my life that really it dimmed my light. That's what happened. And I was just scratching at it and digging it up, and I just didn't want it to be part of me anymore. And I told her that I'm having such a hard time forgiving my enemies. And she gave me such an amazing piece of advice, which at the time, it was kind of hard for me to wrap my head around and fathom. And this is what she shared with me. She told me, not only do you have to forgive your enemies or those who have done you wrong, but you must love your enemies, for they were your teachers. How powerful is that? At the time that she shared that to me, I couldn't understand it. I'm like, I've been going through months and years just trying to forgive my enemies, and now you're telling me that I have to love them too? I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. One step at a time. I'm even just having trouble forgiving them. Loving them is like, it didn't even come to mind. And yet she was sharing this to me. But that was the underlying factor. You have to love them, for they were your teachers. Because that gemstone in your heart that I can see right now, it wouldn't have been polished, and it wouldn't be shining as brightly as it's shining and illuminating and radiating right now, if not for the friction that heated it up and that polished that gemstone. And now it's shining so bright that it has the capability, and it has the power to shine its light in even the darkest of places. Powerful stuff. And I totally believed her, because I knew that that was what I felt inside my heart ever since I was 4 or 5 years old. That early on in life, I knew that I had a mission here and that it was something great. That's what it was. I needed to go through those lessons first, and they were my teachers. So I get it now. They were my greatest teachers. And now that I need to forgive myself for the things that I've done, I realized even greater that I am my greatest teacher, because I was my greatest enemy. I was my greatest foe, the one blocking all of this, the one that attracted all those other enemies in my outside world. I am my greatest teacher because I was my greatest foe. And that's why it was the hardest to forgive myself first. But in order to learn that, I needed to go through those steps. Amazing. Amazing the things that happen when you actually dive deeper into yourself and you unearth it all, and you're like, spiritual awakenings. I did this onto myself. Now, even though I know it, I'm still going through that purging process of forgiving myself. So it's hard, honestly, even when you have that consciousness that, oh, okay, I have to forgive myself. It's still a hard thing to process into your entire body because you've been going through it for so long. The program is still there. So now it's just a matter of deleting it, reformatting it, and just making sure that you keep refining and updating it every single time something new pops up in your life and you learn something else and you get upgraded, you know. So constantly, like I said in here, constantly course correcting myself and learning from the choices I made in my life. I found it difficult to forgive my own self for some reason when I asked for forgiveness from my higher self. And I imagined my higher self hugging its arms around me, or hugging my own arms around me. You are your higher self in itself. It's kind of hard to explain from that perspective, but you are. And my higher self's wings wrapping around in a warm embrace around me as well, shining its light in me and on me. And I just cried, asking forgiveness from my higher self, that I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that I kept procrastinating and I kept delaying the mission you had for me, the mission that we decided to do together. And I knew that it was hard for me to forgive myself, but it was so much easier to ask forgiveness from my higher self. And that's another way, another perspective to look at it from, for you to go through this healing process. Just ask forgiveness from your higher self if it makes it easier. And that's what I did. And I just, cried it out. And I was just crying, and I was touching light and feeling the light within me, and just it filling up my whole body. And just imagining the palms of my higher self and me being my higher self as well at the same time. And from another perspective of my higher self being outside of me and just shining its light within me and on me, and just feely good inside, all that stuff. And instantaneously, I just began to feel so much better and feel so much lighter, because forgiveness and empathy, it just releases so much baggage from you. And you guys know this, you feel this. Why? Because it literally is baggage. It's energetic baggage that your energy body is carrying. You're carrying it with along this journey that you're on, and you don't need it. It already served you its purpose. It already taught you lessons. Now is the time to let it go. So let it go, I did. And not just clearing it. Remember, you need to transmute it first before returning it back up to source, to prime source, to clear light, everything. So the first step to becoming your best version, I did realize, is awareness of those things and those characteristics and personalities that you know is not part of your future self. procrastination, hate, anger, frustration, stress. I don't want that to be part of my best life. That is not part of my best version. My best version is peace, peace of mind, calmness, neutrality, love, and happiness. Whatever is the opposite of that, I do not need it anymore. I learned from those lessons. I graduated from them. That's why I'm forgiving my old self from it, you know? And I'm asking forgiveness from my higher self for being that person before. And then I just told the universe and told my higher self, I surrendered to you. Can you please take over now? I just want you to take over. You can be me. Being conscious of that, and being conscious that when it happens and what you have needs to be eradicated, it needs to be transmuted, because it has no place in the realm and the body of your best version. So remember, have that vision of what your best version is, and anything that is not those characteristics, clear and transmute it across all time, space, quantum dimensions, and realities. Dig that up and leave it up to God, leave it up to the universe, and know that all those possibilities that are your best version will now be attracted to you. Be to receive. Thank you for tuning in to my energy channel, Caspiration Vibration. I know you learned something today, because I have learned a lot of things these past few days as well. Thank you for coming along with me on the journey. Hope this piece of information and piece of knowledge and enlightenment is helping you along your journey as well. We're doing this together in helping raise human consciousness and helping raise the grid and the frequency of Mother Gaia. Be inspired, be inspiration. Put that into application. See you guys. Peace, love, harmony.